Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back and welcome if you're new. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. I thought it would be a lot of fun today to just kind of sit down, change things up, chit chat over a cup of coffee and talk about some of my kitchen renovation plans. I thought that this would be a fun video to look back on to see what my initial thoughts were, what my plans were prior to renovation, and see how things turn out, see if everything turns out like I planned, if we end up changing anything. Just thought it'd be fun to have to look back on. So today we're going to be talking about all things kitchen. So if you're excited about that, give this video a thumbs up and let's get started. Now the kitchen has been renovated prior. This is not the original kitchen to the house, but it's a little bit of a hodgepodge and it's not exactly my taste in style. So we're gonna basically be starting from scratch in the kitchen, which is really exciting, but also comes with some challenges and big decision making as well. So this has been my first real design project in the house, and I am not a professional by any means. So it's been fun, a little challenging, but fun. So let's start right from the beginning. The first thing I did when starting this project was went and did lots and lots of research on 1920s era craftsman kitchens. And I really wanted to draw some inspiration from what I could find, and I definitely did. I found lots of pictures. It was really cool to see the old black and white photos of large cast iron high back style sinks. Another thing that I found that was a common thread among kitchens from that era were cabinets, upper cabinets that had glass panes. I thought that was really neat. A lot of the times they were dark countertops, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be putting my own twist on that. We'll talk about that later. I found lots of hardware that had like the cup drawer pulls, just kind of a fun vintage look. And so with that in mind, I started my own plans and my own design with all of that kind of circling in the back of my mind. So let's talk about the layout first. So if you saw the home tour, I'll link that here. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. I'll show a couple of shots here. You know that our kitchen is basically a square room, and we're keeping the layout almost identical. I decided just to stick with the original layout. Just a lot more cost effective than having to move that plumbing and electric around. So the sink will stay under that big beautiful window. The stove will stay where it is. The fridge will stay where it is, and the dishwasher, so all the appliances. But one big difference is if you see in the before shot, they did not continue the cabinetry beyond the fridge. And so what we're gonna do is of course have cabinets put above the fridge and then continuous after the fridge, so that the fridge has more of a built-in look. I think that will really make the space feel a lot more cohesive. Right now it looks kind of awkward, but the biggest change that we are making in this kitchen space, kitchen dining, is we are blowing out the wall between the kitchen and dining room. And this is the transformation that I am so excited to see. I think that it's really gonna open up the entire house and make it feel just open and airy. There's gonna get a lot more natural light that can come into the dining room, and it's gonna feel like one cohesive eat-in kitchen. Because one thing I really wanted when looking for a house was a space with only one room for a table, an eating kitchen. I didn't want a kitchen table and a dining table like I had in my old home, because honestly it was just kind of wasted space in the sense of we ate all of our dinners, or anytime we ate together as a family, we ate at our dining table. So there wasn't a huge need for a kitchen, eat-in area, breakfast nook, and dining table, if that makes sense. So it's gonna be one cohesive space, and we're gonna be able to wrap the cabinetry around and bring out a large peninsula, which is gonna give me tons more countertop space. We'll be able to put bar stools so the kids can be in the kitchen eating a bowl of cereal while making my coffee, doing their homework in the afternoon. It'll just feel like more of a cohesive heart of the home place, which is what I want, versus like a closed off kitchen where I feel like I'm hiding anytime I'm cooking a meal. So I'm very, very excited about that. So I opted for the peninsula instead of the island because it is a square kitchen, and we could have fit an island in there, but it would have been really small, no room to sit at. And I think it would have made the kitchen feel really crowded. So I'm very happy with our decision to go with the peninsula. That's pretty much everything as far as the layout goes. As far as the cabinetry goes, we are gonna go with white cabinetry. I love a white kitchen. It is one of my favorite things in the whole world. I know that a lot of people are doing the two-tone kitchens now, and I love that too. It's just not my personal preference. I really like a bright, airy, light aesthetic, especially in the kitchen. With just your basic white shaker style cabinet, there will be some crown molding trim above it, and we did go with 42-inch uppers, so it's really gonna draw your eyes up. The only other thing I have to say about the cabinets, other than them being shaker style, is there are 2 corner cabinets on the uppers and the lowers. The lowers are gonna be Lazy Susans. Since I don't have a pantry, I'll have lots of storage that way. But the uppers, we're actually putting in glass panes so that I can display pretty white dishware. And I took inspiration from a couple of those older photos that I found of those 1920s kitchens. So that was really neat. As far as countertops go, I went back and forth if I wanted to do the dark black like I saw in a lot of those 1920s homes, or if I wanted to stay true to myself and do light bright. And I was definitely on the fence, and I had put a poll over on Instagram, and I received so much helpful feedback. Everybody that had black said that it always looked dirty and that when you cleaned it, it looked streaky. And that immediately was a big turn off to me, and I went back to team light bright. So we went to this massive warehouse where we purchased our slab, and they had thousands and thousands of slabs. It was absolutely insane. But I actually ended up going with a really light quartz, a really nice white, bright, simple. There's not too much veining. There is some veining, but it's very soft. It almost looks like more of a marble look. I think that's gonna be so, so pretty against the white cabinetry, and I cannot wait. As far as appliances go, that was kind of a stressful situation. If you've done any renovating or updating in the last year, there are major, major shortages of appliances for some reason. And the timeline of getting them is like months and months and months in advance, which we weren't really aware of prior to buying the home. And so I had a couple things in mind. I thought about doing white appliances, but quickly changed my mind. I think it was gonna be like 4 or 5 months of waiting to get them, and that just wasn't worth it to me. We want this kitchen done. So I did go with just your very typical stainless steel appliances. So nothing too exciting to share on that front. Only thing I will say that we are drastically changing with the appliances is that we are pulling out the microwave. It's currently above the stove, and we're putting in a hood range vent. We're doing a big white one. It's gonna be so pretty. I thought about doing a wooden one, but those are a lot more expensive. And I didn't want it to look too modern farmhouse. I love that look, don't get me wrong. But I'm really trying to go with more classic pieces, just a simple white bright kitchen. So opted to go with the white hood vent cover, but we're gonna pull out that microwave, and we're actually putting the microwave in the lower cabinetry in the peninsula. So when you're looking into the kitchen, you won't see the microwave, which is kind of cool. So let's talk about the sink. This is probably the piece that I am most excited about. It is one of the few things in the kitchen that is vintage. It is a high back wall mounted cast iron farmhouse sink. Now, it is a true farmhouse sink in the sense that it's not your typical front apron sink. That's definitely more of a modern sink. That's actually not, you wouldn't have found those in early 1900s, 1800s homes. And this one is a drop-in, so it's gonna go over the countertops, but it weighs like 200 pounds. It is a beast. They are not cheap. This was definitely the investment piece of the kitchen that I knew I wanted to be the focal point of the kitchen and show its true inspiration. But it is so beautiful and I'm very excited about it. So the faucet I found was also vintage inspired. It is from Signature Hardware, not sponsored, but it is so pretty, you guys. I think that it's just gonna really complement that sink really nicely. I ended up going with a brushed nickel finish, which kind of took me by surprise, but when looking through all the finishes and picturing the kitchen, I think that's gonna really complement the sink well. I didn't want to go with black because I thought that was a little too modern farmhouse, and the oil rubbed bronze was gorgeous, but it was definitely more of a copper. And I don't decorate with tons of coppers usually, so I just didn't think it would go with the overall look, especially with the light quartz countertops. If I had done maybe black, then maybe that'd be a different story, but brushed nickel. And then as far as the hardware goes, one thing I saw time and time again when looking through inspiration photos were the cup drawer pulls that are vintage inspired. So I'll definitely be doing those on all of the drawers. I haven't decided yet if I'll do black or brushed nickel on those. We'll have to wait and see for everything to kind of come together. One of the most difficult challenges that I've had in designing this space and being decisive about what material I'm going to use is my backsplash. I went back and forth. In our previous kitchen at the house in Georgia, I did go with your typical traditional white subway tile. I went with a dark charcoal grout, and I really love the contrast of that. I love that kitchen, but I wanted to just do something different in this kitchen because I did that already. And so why not do something new and fun and something that I hadn't done before? So I went to the tile store and looked at tons of different tile options. I looked at maybe a gray or a glass subway tile just to kind of keep it the same but change it a little bit. And for some reason, I couldn't bring myself to like something enough to make a decision. It just wasn't sitting right with me for some reason. All of the options were beautiful. I just was having the hardest time kind of nailing something down and finalizing something until I kind of did a little bit more research and looked at even more pictures and decided nothing is final yet, so we'll see what the final reveal ends up being. But at this point in time, I'm pretty certain that I'm gonna go with a beadboard backsplash. They make moisture resistant beadboard nowadays, especially because they're so popular in bathrooms. And I thought that that would kind of tie in that cottage look that I love so much while still keeping everything look clean and classic. And we'll see. I'm excited to see that. I'll share a couple of inspiration pictures of what I'm talking about in case you've never seen that look before. I don't know if it's gonna happen right away, but I would like to add a plank ceiling in the kitchen and possibly into the dining room. I don't know yet if I would choose a wood plank ceiling or go with more of the white shiplap look, but either way, I know I want to add some kind of detailing to the ceiling just as a statement piece. I'll probably go with wood because the kitchen is going to be so white. I think that contrast will be beautiful. And a few last minute touches. I'm not going to do 2 pendant lights since there won't be an island, and I think that might be a little too busy. I think I'm gonna go with one larger light fixture in the center of the kitchen. I'm still looking to find an actual like antique lantern or something really cool of that nature. I haven't found one yet, but that's my plan. We'll see. And then if you remember, to the right of the kitchen there is a door that leads out to our mudroom and garage, and I would really like to find a cool door. It doesn't have to be vintage per se, maybe just like a new wooden cedar door, something like that along those lines. I think will be really pretty as a statement piece in the kitchen as well. I mentioned this a little bit before, but the walls coming down between the kitchen and dining, like I said, and between those two spaces to make it feel even more cohesive, I would love to find a large buffet table. I would like to have Caleb put in some shelves and then display my baking goods and bakeware, like flours and sugars, and put them in large, maybe like gallon size glass canisters, I think would be a really pretty way to display them and store them, since again, we don't have a pantry. I'm really excited to see this whole look come together, and always just remember, these are my own styles and preferences. Everyone's are different, so if you have a different style or you like something else, that's totally okay. But I hope you enjoyed today's video and that it gave you tons of ideas and inspiration, or if anything, it was just fun to sit and chit chat over some coffee. But I hope you all are having a wonderful week. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new around here, welcome. My name is Amy, and here on my channel I do lots of home decor and homemaking inspiration, and I would love to have you subscribe. So be sure to hit that red subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys really soon in the next one. Bye.